I waited in the restaurant until 10 o'clock. When the waiter reminded me that the restaurant was about to close, I received a message on my phone. It was Chu Yang. I'll wait for you at home. The moment I saw the message, my fingers curled up suddenly, then I trembled, my eyes were red, I was reborn. On the night of my third wedding anniversary with Chu Yang, to celebrate, Chu Yang booked the entire restaurant and decorated it carefully. I dressed up, but Chu Yang didn't come. His good brother Chen Rui died suddenly and asked him to take good care of his sister Chen Nanyu before he died. Chu Yang was particularly concerned. He took Chen Nanyu home that night. Even the explanation was exactly the same as in the previous life. Nanyu has no family, I can't ignore her. How did I respond to Chu Yang in the previous life? Hysterically opposed and accused. Does your so-called care mean that she must live in our house? We are husband and wife. Why don't you respect my ideas? The only responses I got were Chen Nanyu's tears of grievance and Chu Yang's cold reproach. Chengyu, you are so cold-blooded. He let Chen Nanyu live at home despite my objection. Later, because of Chen Nanyu, Chu Yang and I had countless quarrels and misunderstandings. I tried everything to get the Chu Yang who loved me back, but compared with the delicate and pitiful Chen Nanyu, my accusations and grievances became unreasonable in Chu Yang's eyes. Chen Nanyu threw away the kitten I had raised for 2 years, and Chu Yang was reluctant to scold her. When Chen Nanyu and I were kidnapped together, Chu Yang abandoned me without hesitation and saved her. So in this life, facing the serious Chu Yang and the aggrieved Chen Nanyu hiding behind him and crying, I just smiled slightly. Okay, since you've decided, let her stay. Chu Yang's pupils shrank, and his attitude was skeptical. Did you really agree? I tilted my head and smiled. She is your good brother's sister, and you should take care of her. I am your wife, and I believe you know your limits, so why should I refuse? Chu Yang opened his mouth, but didn't speak. I told the housekeeper to clean up the guest bedroom on the first floor for Chen Nanyu. In the previous life, Chu Yang and I had a big fight, and he deliberately went against me and let Chen Nanyu live on the second floor. Since the objection is invalid, I will take the initiative. Chu Yang felt guilty about me and would not refute me at this time. That night, I didn't let Chu Yang sleep with me. He thought I was throwing a tantrum and said a few harsh words. After hearing my cough, he remembered that I had been sitting alone in the cold wind of the open-air restaurant all night. Then, feeling guilty, he told the housekeeper to prepare cold medicine for me. He promised me again and again that he would never break my promise again. I said languidly. Chu Yang's movements were stiff, but he didn't say anything more. After tucking me in the quilt, he tiptoed to the guest bedroom next door. It was finally quiet. I turned over. The next second I fell asleep with Xiaoguai in my arms. It wasn't because of a cold, but before I died in my previous life, I was tied up in a cold factory for 2 days. I didn't dare to sleep or cry. I was so nervous for too long that I couldn't stand it anymore, so I slept very soundly this time. I didn't wake up until almost noon the next day. Chen Nanyu was sitting on the sofa in the living room packing her luggage. When she heard me coming downstairs, she just looked up at me, but she didn't take the initiative to say hello and continued to pack her clothes in an orderly manner and asked the housekeeper to make coffee for her. She was like the hostess of this house. In my previous life, I was like a balloon that would explode at any time when faced with her provocation. I quarreled with her. During the argument, she deliberately fell to the ground and was seen by Chu Yang, who was going home to get documents. He asked me to apologize without asking the cause and effect. I naturally refused. As a result, Chu Yang ignored me for half a month. Now, facing such a clumsy trick, I am no longer angry. I ignored her and walked into the restaurant. The housekeeper took the initiative to bring breakfast without my order. It was obvious who was the mistress of this family. Chen Nanyu blushed. She threw the luggage with a crackling sound. The housekeeper frowned. As soon as she took a step over there, she was stopped by my eyes. Amid Chen Nanyu's voice of resistance, I finished my first hot meal after rebirth with satisfaction. Xiaoguai stretched his waist and moved to my feet and meowed. I picked it up and held it in my arms. Looking at the warm sunlight in early autumn, it's so comfortable. Chu Yang should have told the housekeeper long ago. So as soon as I finished breakfast, the housekeeper opened the door and let the staff in. She finally packed up the things Chen Nanyu had left in the living room and sent them back to her room. Then she told the staff to put Chu Yang's gifts in the living room one by one: top luxury jewelry, haute couture dresses, limited edition bags, the latest sports cars. They were all anniversary gifts that Chu Yang gave me out of guilt. I didn't feel anything. But Chen Nanyu was jealous. Sister Cheng Yu, you are so lucky to marry brother Yang. You can enjoy a luxurious life without doing anything. I was silent for a moment and corrected her expressionlessly. No, you should envy me for having a good reincarnation. After all, this is how I lived before I married Chu Yang. Chen Nanyu's eyes turned red instantly. She is the illegitimate daughter of the Chen family. When she was taken back to the Chen family had gone bankrupt. She didn't enjoy any glory and wealth at all. So what she cares about most is her own life experience. But my brother told me that girls must be independent and have their own careers. I have always remembered what my brother said and dare not relax for a moment. Chen Nanyu finally couldn't help it and showed her weak and green tea demeanor. She wanted to irritate me, but I just lifted my eyelids and glanced at her lightly, then nodded. It's good. Then you work harder. Seeing that I was indifferent, Chen Nanyu was furious. When she stood up, she deliberately stepped on Xiaoguai's tail. It jumped up suddenly and knocked over the gift box I had just opened. A crisp sound rang out. I lowered my eyes. I saw the Rui jade pendant broken into 2 pieces on the floor. Seeing the jade broken, Chen Nanyu immediately became nervous. I didn't mean it. When she was halfway through her words, she suddenly fell on the sofa after catching a glimpse of a figure walking into the living room. Oops. This scene fell into Chu Yang's eyes when he just entered the room. As if I had deliberately pushed her down, he immediately ran over to help her up and asked me harshly, "What did you do?" Before he finished speaking, he saw the jade broken into 2 pieces on the floor, and his face suddenly changed. How did this happen? Seeing that he was in a bad mood, Chen Nanyu began to pretend to be wronged and explained, "It wasn't me. It was Xiaoguai who jumped up and broke it just now, and Sister Cheng Yu misunderstood me just now." A pair of wet eyes. It seems aggrieved, but it's all calculated. How can I compensate Sister Cheng Yu with a piece of jade? My brother left me some money. I should be able to afford it. But Chen Nanyu didn't know that this Rui jade pendant was not bought. It was carved by Chu Yang himself. In the first year of marriage, Chu Yang accidentally had a car accident. He stayed in the ICU for a whole week. After all medical methods were used, the expert said that he could only wake up by his own will. I, who never believed in fate, went to the temple alone to ask for a peace charm for him. The 700 steps on a snowy day almost made me lose the feeling of my hands and feet. Fortunately, Chu Yang woke up the night he put on the peace charm, but I fell seriously ill from then on. I was afraid of cold. Chu Yang was very distressed. Later, he heard that carving a Rui jade pendant by hand could ensure safety, so he found a piece of jade and carved it carefully. But in the previous life, Chen Nanyu fainted after being frightened by exhibitionism at school. In order to comfort her, Chu Yang gave her the jade pendant full of vows. Later, he always stood behind Chen Nanyu to protect her safety. I lost his love and protection, and finally I was alone and buried in the wilderness. I didn't expect that after rebirth, Chu Yang would give me the Rui jade pendant in advance because of guilt. Unfortunately, it broke before I touched it, as if it was destined by God. Chu Yang and I can only stand at the 2 ends of the scale. We can't walk together, as Chen Nanyu kept explaining. Chu Yang silently picked up the broken jade. After looking at it for a long time, he told Chen Nanyu to go back to the room first. I knew that he didn't intend to pursue it. Forget it, it's broken. I'll carve another one for you. Use a jade with better texture than this one. Okay. His overly indifferent tone made me look unbelievable. Chu Yang, this is carved by you for me, and it was Chen Nanyu who broke it. How can you say it's broken? His eyebrows were slightly frowned, and his tone was helpless. Oh, she just lost her relatives and has no sense of security. Can you understand? Who will understand me? My chest rose and fell violently. I couldn't help but breathe quickly. Chu Yang, you said you would carve a jade pendant for me for my safety. I've been waiting for 2 years. How long do you want me to wait? You brought Chen Nanyu back. You believed everything she said. You felt bad when she got hurt, but she is just your brother's sister. I am your wife. Why do you always wrong me and forgive her? What did I do wrong to make you treat me like this? Chu Yang, the jade is broken, it can't protect me. Can I still trust you and rely on you? My eyes were already full of tears when I finished speaking. Chu Yang's face flashed with endless regret. He hugged me tightly and coaxed me in a low voice. Of course you can trust me. I will always protect you. Ayu, you know how much I love you. In Chu Yang's arms, I slowly opened my eyes. My breathing calmed down and my tears dried. I met Chen Nanyue's vicious and jealous eyes in the distance. I raised my lips slightly. Chu Yang used to love me, but after Chen Nanyu appeared, that love gradually changed. I used to wonder why Chu Yang changed his mind. Now I don't want to pursue it. A man who changed his mind, even if only a little bit, will be like a rotten apple inside. In the end, he will be ugly. I will let Chu Yang be thrown away by me when he loves me the most and feels the most guilty about me. Everything that Chen Nanyu tried so hard to get will be destroyed by me. Neither the scumbag nor the mistress deserves to be forgiven, out of guilt. Chu Yang has been very good to me recently. The meticulous care seem to have returned to the period of passionate love. But this kind of intimacy will automatically give way when Chen Nanyu appears. At lunch, Chen Nanyu held a few grains of rice, wanting to say something but stopping. I pretended not to see it, but Chu Yang couldn't help but feel distressed. What's wrong? Chen Nanyu was like a little rabbit. After glancing at me, she retracted her neck and shook her head violently. It's okay, as if I bullied her. Chu Yang looked unhappy. If you have something to say, just say it directly. Don't worry. Chen Nanyu put down her bowl and chopsticks and looked at Chu Yang expectantly. Brother Yang, I will participate in the competition next month. So I moved the easel back and practiced painting every day. But the room on the first floor is too cold. My hands are frozen, and I can't hold the brush. My action of picking up the food stagnated. It turns out that no matter what I do, important things will happen. Chen Nanyue's room on the first floor faces north. It is indeed not as warm as the second floor in autumn and winter, but there are only 3 rooms on the second floor, the master bedroom, the study and the lounge dedicated to me. I am afraid of cold. Chu Yang specially left that room for me. In it, there is a sofa customized for me, a super large screen, Xiaoguai's cat climbing frame, a toy box and a wall of jewelry display cabinets. If Chen Nanyu lives on the second floor, I have to make room for her. I didn't respond. Chu Yang hesitated for a while. I'll ask the housekeeper to add a heater for you. I've tried both the heater and the air conditioner. They make the room too dry and the paint is dry. Seeing that Chu Yang was still hesitating, Chen Nanyu lowered his head again. Brother Yang, I'd better move back to the dormitory. The studio in the school is big and has a constant temperature system. I won't cause trouble for you and Sister Chengyu. This sentence completely reminded Chu Yang of his promise to his deceased brother. He put down his bowl and chopsticks, sat up straight and looked at me. Ayu, give up the lounge. After this winter, I will have someone install floor heating in Nanyue's room and let her move back. I was a little dazed. But Chu Yang, I'm afraid of the cold too. Chu Yang frowned, quite impatient. It's just a winter. Just bear with it and it will pass. When you feel cold, you can go to the 3rd floor greenhouse or bask in the sun on the bedroom balcony. Chen Rui said Nanyu was bullied at school and I can't let her go back to school, although I had guessed that he would do this. But after it really happened, I still felt sick and uncomfortable. Chu Yang's heart and eyes were already full of Chen Nanyu. He didn't care that I would be cold and sick. I took a deep breath and tried to slow down my voice. Okay, then move. Chen Nanyu doesn't like small animals. In her previous life, she deliberately opened the window and let Xiaoguai go not long after she moved into the 2nd floor. She pretended not to know for the whole day. It wasn't until I went home at night and couldn't find Xiaoguai. And I looked through the video that I found that it had entered Chen Nanyue's room and never came out again. Under my repeated questioning, Chen Nanyu cried and said sorry. I just accidentally left the window open, and I didn't expect it to run away. I didn't have time to pay attention to Chen Nanyu, and immediately went out to look for the cat. Chu Yang accompanied me to search for the whole night. It was not until the next morning that we found its cold body on the road next to the villa area. After returning to the villa, I beat and scolded Chen Nanyu like crazy. She hid behind Chu Yang, crying like a pear blossom in the rain. Chu Yang began to protect her. Later, he pushed me away impatiently. That's enough. The cat is dead. No matter how much you beat and scold it, it's useless. I looked at Chu Yang in disbelief. I didn't understand how he could say such cold words when he had raised Xiaoguai with me for 2 years, but he didn't blame Chen Nanyu a word. It wasn't until now that I realized that he didn't even care about me, so how could he care about a cat? I didn't dare to gamble, so that afternoon, I sent Xiaoguai to Cheng Fan's house. Cheng Fan is my parents' adopted son. He is now the helmsman of Cheng's. When I appeared with 2 large bags of pet supplies, he looked worried. Did you have a fight? Even if you did, you shouldn't have run away from home. I sighed. No, but I want a divorce. Did Chu Yang hit you? Cheng Fan suddenly raised his voice, scaring Xiaoguai, who had just stuck his head out, back into the airline box. No, brother. While comforting Xiaoguai, I recounted the key points of Chen Nanyue's story. I definitely want a divorce, it's just that Cheng and Chu's companies have many interests. So divorce is not an easy thing. Since my rebirth, I have been preparing the procedures and documents for divorce, trying my best to minimize the loss to Cheng's. I came to Cheng Fan today to ask him to prepare in advance. After listening to me, Cheng Fan's face turned cold. You don't have to wrong yourself for the company. I'll cover you. Divorce as soon as possible. Looking at Cheng Fan's cold and hard profile, I felt mixed emotions, suddenly hugged his arm. Thank you, brother. Cheng Fan froze for a moment, then smiled and patted my head. Why are you thanking me? I leaned on Cheng Fan's shoulder and wiped away my tears when he couldn't see. In my previous life, after I was kidnapped, Chu Yang refused to save me. Nanyu only has me. You still have Cheng Fan. He will save you. But Cheng Fan had an accident on the way to save me. I watched his car fall off the cliff, his life or death unknown. At that moment, my remaining will to survive was shattered. Even if the dagger sank into my chest, I didn't feel any pain. Since God gave me a chance to start over, I will never let the past happen again. I not only want to save myself, I also want to save Cheng Fan. A month later, Chen Nanyu's painting won an award. She gave the painting to Chu Yang. She also asked him to hang it in the study so that he could see her achievements every day. Chu Yang was full of doting and agreed happily. A week later, when Chen Nanyu came back with the painting, I was about to go out. When we passed each other on the stairs, she suddenly spoke. You can clearly see that Brother Yang doesn't like you anymore. Why don't you leave him? Chen Nanyu in front of me had venom in her eyes. Where is the innocent look of a girl? I had no emotion and looked straight into her eyes. Since you like Chu Yang, why don't you dare to confess? Are you afraid that others will call you a mistress? Only those who are not loved are mistresses. Chen Nanyu rolled her eyes unscrupulously, and her provocative eyes swept across my lower abdomen. You can't have children anymore, and Brother Yang won't be with you forever. You'd better leave on your own initiative. Don't be so tactless and make people dislike you. My eyes were dark. I did leave the root of the disease when I asked for a peace amulet for Chu Yang that winter. The doctor said that I caught a cold and needed to take good care of myself, otherwise it would be difficult to conceive. Over the years, I have never stopped taking medicine for conditioning, but I still didn't get pregnant. Chu Yang never complained to me. I didn't know that he cared so much. And he told my privacy to Chen Nanyu as a joke. I took a deep breath, but I couldn't suppress my anger anymore. I simply raised my foot and kicked Chen Nanyue's painting down the stairs. The wooden frame fell to the floor with a bang. The canvas hooked the railing and tore a long slit. Chen Nanyue's eyes instantly turned red, and she raised her hands to fight with me, but she was half a head shorter than me, and she didn't keep the fitness habit as well as me. I quickly distanced myself from her and pushed her aside. Hiss! Chen Nanyu hit the wall. When she got up, her entire right arm was in an unnatural drooping position. My arm is broken. It hurts so much. My arm is broken. I watched Chen Nanyu screaming and crying in pain while holding her arm. There was no pity in my heart. I cursed, you deserve it, and then left without looking back. This day, Chu Yang called me 18 times and sent me dozens of WeChat messages. I ignored them all. Until I got home in the evening, I found that Chu Yang had sent away the housekeeper and the servants. In the huge living room, I stood alone on the opposite side of Chu Yang and Chen Nanyu. His eyes were filled with anger and his voice was low. Ayu, apologized to Nanyu. I sneered and asked him, What are you apologizing for? Chu Yang frowned and walked forward, pointing at Chen Nanyu, whose eyes were already red from crying on the sofa, and was furious. You destroyed her paintings and pushed her down and injured her arm. Shouldn't you apologize? I was neither humble nor arrogant. Do you believe everything she said? Have you seen the surveillance video? When the situation was tense, Chen Nanyu suddenly spoke. The surveillance video is broken. She looked at me proudly, as if she was sure that I would apologize to her under Chu Yang's coercion. But she was wrong. I knew that the surveillance video was secretly broken by Chu Yang. So I was even more fearless, facing Chen Nanyu's determined eyes. I slowly spoke. Chen Nanyu, you pretended to be wronged after you found out there was no surveillance video, thinking that Chu Yang would believe whatever you said, right? But let me guess, you didn't tell him why we were arguing, right? Chen Nanyu shuddered. Just as she was about to explain, she heard Chu Yang's impatient voice. You don't have to scare her, apologize to her. I looked at Chu Yang, who had a cold face, and narrowed my eyes slightly. Chu Yang, why don't you ask about the cause and effect? And you believe everything she said. It was obviously she who provoked me first. You should ask her. Chu Yang raised his voice, his eyes full of disbelief. Chengyu, do you mean to say that she deliberately provoked you? So she deserved to be hurt. Open your eyes and take a look. That was a painting she stayed up all night to paint for a whole month. She couldn't throw it away. She is a painter. How could she bet her future and dislocate her entire arm? You made her hurt. Is it difficult for you to apologize? I took a deep breath and stared at Chu Yang. Then, I froze for several hours in the snow to save you and almost lost my fertility. Do I deserve it? Chu Yang's face turned pale. What did you say? I exhaled and pointed at Chen Nanyu, who looked aggrieved on the sofa. Chu Yang, she said you don't love me anymore. She said I can't have children, and it's shameless to stay with you. But this is my privacy. If you didn't say it yourself, how could she know? Chu Yang's eyes flashed with regret and unnaturalness. He didn't dare to look me in the eye, but just lowered his head and lowered his voice. Ayu, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Silence for a long time. Chu Yang raised his head again. But let's put it one way or the other. I apologize to you, and you should also apologize to Nanyu. After all, you hurt her more and almost ruined her future. Chu Yang wanted to say, Chen Nanyu just said a fact, but I almost made her unable to pick up a paintbrush again. How ridiculous. He is my husband. But he didn't care about my situation at all, and didn't care that rumors would hurt me. Chen Nanyu had already filled his heart, so he naturally betrayed me and hurt me. Fortunately, I don't love Chu Yang anymore. I don't feel any pain at all, only disgust. Looking at his righteous accusation, I took out the document without hesitation and threw it on the table. Don't explain, Chu Yang. You might as well say you don't love me. Since you don't love, there's no need to be tied together. Let's divorce. Looking at the cold words divorce agreement on the cover of the document, Chu Yang's face changed. Chengyu, I can explain your doubts, but I didn't cheat. And I don't agree to divorce. I tilted my head slightly, looked at Chu Yang, who was suppressing his anger and pretending to be calm, and suddenly laughed. Then you let Chen Nanyu move out and swear never to see her again in this life. Can you do it? What are you making a fuss about? You know Chen Rui is my best brother. How can I live up to his trust, just because of Chen Rui? Chu Yang seemed to be suddenly deflated. He dodged his eyes, wanting to explain, but didn't know how to start. This scene made me feel particularly ironic. Don't deceive yourself. Chu Yang, it's hard to explain that you let a girl who has no blood relationship and no status live in your home. This is a modern society. You can't think of controlling two women at the same time. I don't want to be embarrassed with you. You have no choice. I must divorce. That night, I left the divorce agreement. For the next week, Chu Yang didn't send me any message. I didn't sign it either. Instead, it was Chen Nanyu who sent me photos every day. At first, it was the silhouette of Chu Yang in a meeting. Then it was a dinner with only her and Chu Yang. She was very proud and overjoyed. Brother Yang is still living well without you at home. Don't come back again. I was not angry, and replied to her. Little third sister, please wake up. Chu Yang and I have not divorced yet. I am still Mrs. Chu, and you are still the mistress who cannot be seen in the light. Chen Nanyu did not reply to me. That night, she sent me another photo. It was a photo of Chu Yang's chest covered with kiss marks on the bed in the master bedroom. You will not be Mrs. Chu soon. I did not reply. I sent this photo to Chu Yang along with the video I had saved before. That video took place on the night I went on vacation in Haicheng. Chu Yang was drunk and pushed Chen Nanyu against the sofa and kissed her deeply. He thought that after he woke up, he could delete the video and destroy the surveillance equipment to completely destroy the body and conceal the incident. But I didn't know that after I was reborn, I made a real-time backup of the surveillance video at home. I know everything that Chu Yang and Chen Nanyu did at home. After Chu Yang received Cheng Yu's email, he realized that things were beyond his control. He and Cheng Yu have been married for 3 years. They were really in love at the beginning. But every time he saw Cheng Yu holding Xiaoguai and calling him baby, Chu Yang's heart would always hurt. He thought Cheng Yu deliberately blamed him in this way. He even felt that he was a sinner. Chen Nanyu appeared at this time. There were obviously many ways, but he stubbornly chose to take her home. He deceived himself and just took care of Chen Nanyu on behalf of his friend as a brother. He knew Chen Nanyu's little tricks, lying, framing, pretending to be weak. But when he thought of his friend's dying entrustment, he felt more distressed for Chen Nanyu and was willing to protect her more. Chu Yang could see the pure love for himself in Chen Nanyu's eyes. He thought he was firm enough, but he still couldn't help falling. He turned off the video at home in fear, trying to soothe his cheating heart in this way, but after seeing Cheng Yu's email, he realized his stupidity. Cheng Yu had found out a long time ago. But she was forbearing and didn't want to break up with him. If Chen Nanyu hadn't deliberately provoked, maybe Cheng Yu wouldn't have exploded at all. This marriage can still be maintained. It's all Chen Nanyu's fault, Chu Yang thought regretfully. If he had been more careful, if he had restrained Chen Nanyu more. But why? Cheng Yu, who climbed the mountain in the snow for his safety, just because of this little problem, he suddenly stopped loving himself. It must be that Cheng Yu also changed his mind, so the divorce was not his fault alone. Chu Yang asked me to meet in a coffee shop not far from the Cheng building. When he saw me, he was a little nervous and quickly avoided his eyes. I'm sorry, I didn't say anything, waiting for him to say the next words. After a long time, he looked up and looked at me nervously. I will let Nanyu move out of the house. She is Chen Rui's only relative. I will give her a sum of money so that she will have no worries in her life. I promise that I will never contact her again. Can you forgive me for doing this? I suddenly realized that it was not surprising that Chu Yang liked Chen Nanyu. They both had a common strange brain circuit. And they were so stupid that it was unreasonable. I sighed and my eyes fell on the wedding ring on his left ring finger. Chu Yang, do you still remember your wedding vows? Chu Yang was stunned for a moment and pulled his tie irritably. Chu Yang and I were in a free love relationship. At the wedding, he promised to stay together for life and never betray. Now he broke it with his own hands. Chu Yang, you can't tolerate sand in your eyes, and you won't buy a rotten apple. If I betrayed first, you would have abandoned me long ago. Chu Yang's breathing stagnated. Sign it as soon as possible. It will be good for both you and me. Otherwise, if Chen Nanyu makes a fuss, I don't know what she will do. You are a big CEO. You can disappear by patting your butt. Chen Nanyu hasn't graduated yet. It's hard to say whether she can get a diploma. I was about to leave after I said that, but Chu Yang grabbed my wrist. He retracted his gaze from the window, his tone low and cold. You want a divorce? Is it because of Chen Nanyu, or because of him? Who? I turned back subconsciously, and happened to see Cheng Fan pushing open the door of the coffee shop, walking towards me anxiously. It was ironic. I struggled to break free. I slapped Chu Yang with all my strength. Chu Yang, don't think that everyone is as disgusting as you. Then I turned around and was held in the arms of Cheng Fan, who came late. He took a deep look at Chu Yang. I protected me in his hateful eyes and left quickly. 2 days later, I received the divorce agreement signed by Chu Yang. That afternoon, I took a professional moving team back to the villa where I had lived for 3 years and moved all my things away, from expensive haute couture dresses and jewelry, from small things like plastic refrigerator magnets bought from roadside stalls. I would rather take them back and throw them away than leave them to Chu Yang and Chen Nanyu. Later, the housekeeper told me that when Chen Nanyu went back home at night and saw the living room that looked like it had been robbed, as well as the empty jewelry cabinet and wardrobe, she screamed loudly. She felt wronged. she cried and sat on the sofa waiting for Chu Yang to come back, but Chu Yang didn't know if it was intentional. But he went on a business trip and didn't go home for a whole week, shortly after the divorce. I moved into my new home in Nancheng with Xiaoguai. When I was lying in the rocking chair with Xiaoguai in my arms and basking in the sun, Cheng Fan came out of the kitchen wearing an apron. She served me a bowl of soup that had been simmered for 3 hours on low heat. I just took a bite and my eyebrows dropped. Looking at Cheng Fan's back as he helped me organize the bookshelf, I suddenly remembered what Chu Yang said in the coffee shop. I couldn't help but fall into thoughts. When my parents picked up Cheng Fan, he was still a baby in swaddling clothes, since they couldn't find his relatives for several months after calling the police. And they couldn't bear to let him suffer in the welfare home. They adopted him and treated him as their own son. There was a word Fan embroidered on his bib, so my parents named him Cheng Fan. When Cheng Fan was in the first year of high school, the Fan family in Haicheng came to look for him. They said he was the youngest son of the Fan family in Haicheng. That winter, Cheng Fan refused to leave for Haicheng. He insisted on staying at home with us until the spring festival before leaving. He left for 6 years. The day he came back happened to be the engagement party for Chu Yang and me. Looking at my brother who I hadn't seen for many years and was a little unfamiliar, I really wanted to hold his arm, but I didn't dare to get close. My parents had planned to retire and travel around the world a long time ago. Unfortunately, I don't like running a company, so they have never been able to do so. After knowing that Cheng Fan would not leave, they completely became hands-off managers and handed over the company and me to Cheng Fan. In the following years, I gradually regained the closeness I had with Cheng Fan when I was a child. He was very good to me, he spoiled me, and even gave up his life for me. I never thought that Cheng Fan would have feelings for me that were different from those of a brother and sister. After all, he was the most favored youngest son of a century-old family. And there was no need for him to like me despite his crazy words, but Chu Yang's words really made me distressed. I thought for a while and said in a light-hearted manner, "Brother, your craftsmanship is so good, it would be a pity if you don't find someone to appreciate it." Cheng Fan didn't raise his head, and his voice was tired. "Didn't you just appreciate it? But I can't appreciate it every day. You are still half a year older than me, and you should find a girlfriend." Halfway through the words, Cheng Fan glanced at me coldly. I immediately lowered my head and my voice became smaller and smaller. Seeing my cowardly appearance, Cheng Fan sighed. "You are urging me to get married right after a marriage ended. Cheng Yu, are you serious?" I pursed my lips and whispered, "I just hope you can be happy." "I will be happy." Across a long distance, Cheng Fan looked straight at me. "You don't have to test me. I have my own plans. I will be happy, but it's not time yet." After saying that, he looked away and turned into the kitchen. I blinked a few times and suddenly felt complicated. I silently complained to Xiaoguai. "He is so hard to understand. In the second month after the divorce, I have adapted to the independent life of one person and one cat." Cheng Fan occasionally came to feed, but kept a frequency of not disturbing or interfering. It was as if nothing had happened that afternoon. In comparison, Chu Yang was not doing well, living in the same circle. Even if I didn't take the initiative to ask, I could know a thing or two about him. After he came home from a business trip, he gave Chen Nanyu a sum of money and asked her to move out of the house. Chen Nanyu refused and had a big fight with him. Unexpectedly, Chu Yang was very firm. It was as if the person who had only Chen Nanyu in his heart and eyes was not himself. Chen Nanyu was still unwilling to move out of the villa. She waited at the door of the villa and went to Chu Yang's company to block him. She even broke into the meeting room despite the obstruction, causing Chu Yang to lose a large order of a considerable amount of money. When I heard the news, I suddenly felt that Chen Nanyu at this time was like me in my previous life. Because I didn't believe that Chu Yang would change his heart, I turned myself into an angry bird and crashed into the whirlpool, smashed to pieces. The gain was not worth the loss. Chu Yang was equally cruel to Chen Nanyu and didn't even give her a chance to meet. The crazy Chen Nanyu vented all her resentment on me. Listening to the dirty insults on the phone, I closed my eyes. "But Chen Nanyu, did Chu Yang say he loves you?" The cursing stopped abruptly. 2 seconds later, a beep sounded. "I have seen the surveillance at home. When Chu Yang faced Chen Nanyu, he never said anything beyond the rules, and never took the initiative to make a decent promise. He was like a trader who was determined to win, enjoying manipulating Chen Nanyu's love for him. This is the case with Chen Nanyu. The same is true for me. Otherwise, Chu Yang would not have blatantly brought Chen Nanyu home, testing me again and again, and pulling my bottom line. Chu Yang is a complete scumbag. Chu Yang has come to me recently, through work, or through friends, but I rejected them all, until this time. I received an invitation from Chu Yang to the charity dinner of the foundation. The Chu Foundation was established by Chu Yang after he recovered from his illness. It was organized in my name. It was also the project I spent the most effort to build after getting married, so I couldn't refuse. That night, he walked through the crowd and walked straight towards me. When he came to me, I found that he was tortured by Chen Nanyu and was very haggard. Even the custom-made suit couldn't cover the fatigue around him. He said, "Ayu, I have asked Nanyu to move out. Can you give me a chance to start over?" I didn't understand Chu Yang's train of thought and took a half step back to distance myself. "Chu Yang, I don't like you anymore. We are divorced." It's meaningless to say these words again. Chu Yang disagreed. He wanted to say something else, but there was a quarrel outside the door. It turned out to be Chen Nanyu. Because there was no invitation letter, she fought with the guard who stopped her. Chu Yang's face darkened instantly, and he ran towards her. I don't know how he comforted Chen Nanyu. 10 minutes later, Chu Yang came back alone. He walked towards me again, but was stopped by the staff halfway and told that it was time to go on stage to give a speech. Chu Yang asked me to wait for him, but my eyelids kept twitching and I felt uncomfortable. I left the banquet hall before he finished his speech. Unexpectedly, I met Chen Nanyu in the underground garage. Her hair was loose. The hem of her lace skirt had been stepped on by the security guard several times just now, like a poor rag doll, but it made me feel a chill. "Chengyu, I want you to die. As long as you die, Brother Yang can only love me." She took out a knife from her back and rushed towards me screaming. I ran away. I ran and called for help, but at a corner, I stepped on the hem of my skirt and sprained my ankle. I lost my balance and fell on the stairs. The next second, Chen Nanyu chased after me. I screamed and curled myself up. There was no expected pain. A few drops of blood wiped my ears and dripped onto the ground. I turned around and saw Chu Yang standing above me. The dagger penetrated from behind and stabbed out from the chest. In the emergency room, Chu Yang had a long dream. It was like being injected with his own memories of another parallel time and space. In that world, Chu Yang completely broke his original oath. He fell in love with Chen Nanyu and betrayed Chengyu. He knew the bad nature of Chen Nanyu, but he indulged her blindly, making Chengyu sad again and again. When Chengyu was kidnapped, he chose to save Chen Nanyu without hesitation. The reason was simple. Chen Nanyu only had him. Chengyu had Cheng Fan to save him, but he didn't expect that Cheng Fan would have a car accident on the way to save Chengyu and fall off a cliff. The kidnappers were afraid that the matter would get out of hand and cause trouble, so they killed Chengyu in advance, leaving Chengyu alone in the wilderness. After losing Chengyu, Chu Yang suddenly felt at a loss. He didn't seem to love Chen Nanyu that much anymore, especially after he found out that the kidnapping was deliberately planned by Chen Nanyu and Cheng Fan's car was tampered by Chen Nanyu. Chu Yang felt disgusted by Chen Nanyu. He was like a schizophrenic, and turned back into Chu Yang who only loved Chengyu. Collect evidence and send Chen Nanyu to prison. The day Chen Nanyu was taken away, she screamed and accused, "You made me like this. You betrayed Chengyu. It's all your fault." Chu Yang suddenly woke up like a slap in the face. He realized later that he was the culprit. Chengyu died because of his betrayal. Chu Yang found it hard to accept the reality. After spending 2 nights with his eyes open, Chu Yang swallowed a whole bottle of sleeping pills. Beep dash, heartbeat stopped. Beep, beep, beep dash, heartbeat resumed. Chen Nanyu was arrested on the day of the incident. Chu Yang was injured in the vitals and was in a coma for a week before waking up. I went to the hospital to visit Chu Yang the day after he woke up. Cheng Fan and I went together. Chu Yang frowned slightly when he saw him, but his tone was calm and humble. "Can I talk to Chengyu alone?" Cheng Fan saw me nod and turned to leave. There were only Chu Yang and I in the ward. He looked at me, his eyes strange and familiar. After a long time, he squeezed out an ugly smile. "I'm sorry, Chengyu. I didn't mean to not choose you." I was suddenly stunned. Then I heard him say, "It must have hurt when the dagger pierced your heart." My face turned pale in an instant, and I took 2 steps back towards the door. "You're back too." Chu Yang didn't say anything, just looked at me and nodded. I didn't ask why Chu Yang died in the previous life. I didn't care. In this life and the past, he deserved it and deserved to be punished. Perhaps sensing my rejection, Chu Yang covered his eyes weakly. "I have always owed you a sincere apology." And Cheng Fan's part, I was puzzled. "What do you mean?" Chu Yang sighed and told me about Chen Nanyue's kidnapping and damaging Cheng Fan's car. Perhaps he has not fully recovered. He was short of breath and coughed at the end. I stood far away, shaking uncontrollably. Seeing that I still refused to get close, he pulled out the oxygen and rolled off the bed. Then he stumbled to me and knelt down to beg. "I know you won't forgive me, but I still want to ask, if I hadn't brought Chen Nanyu home, would we not have come to this point?" He was still avoiding responsibility and putting all the consequences on Chen Nanyu. I felt my chest was pressed so hard that I couldn't breathe, and I forced myself to stay calm. I pushed his hand away. Chu Yang was particularly concerned. All me. Then I ignored Chu Yang, who was lying on the ground and couldn't get up, and immediately pushed the door and left. I found Cheng Fan at the end of the corridor. He had just finished the phone call and walked towards me. "Brother." I quickened my pace and threw myself into his arms. Finally I couldn't help it and burst into tears for the first time after my rebirth. That was the last time I saw Chu Yang. I heard that he had been in poor health since he was discharged from the hospital. He was depressed and became addicted to alcohol. In just half a year, he was hospitalized 3 times. The company's performance declined, and he began to be impeached by the board of directors. But these things have nothing to do with me. Cheng Fan picked up a small calico cat downstairs of the company. He was afraid that he couldn't raise the kitten well, so he brought it over for me to raise together. He came to see me from time to time, gave toys and cat food. He also brought my favorite snacks and cooked for me. He always takes care of me appropriately. He never makes me feel uncomfortable or rejected. He doesn't force me to give an answer, and he has not taken that step yet. Some things need to be left to time. We don't need to rush.